Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about Blender and just how to start using it. A few basic things like shapes and colours and everything like that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what version we're using. Now this is Blender 2.8. I think the current one that is public is 2.82, so that's 2.8 and two more updates after that, and 2.83 is coming out soon. So when you download it from the official Blender site, which is very easy to do, it's free and open source, make sure that you've got the most updated version. There's a lot going on in the Blender world at the moment. It's suddenly becoming very, very popular and very, very impressive, even more so than it was. So do make sure you've got the most updated version. So when you load it up, it'll look like this. You'll have the little artwork splash screen. You won't have any sort of the recent files or anything there. We don't need that. If you just click off to one side, you'll get to your default position, which is the brand new file where it's got, you can see the x-axis and the y-axis and the default cube just sitting there. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get used to a few sort of shortcuts to make sure we understand how to add things in and move things around. So what we're going to do is we're going to recognize that we can click on things. We can click on the default cube, we can click on the light, we can click on camera if we wanted, but for now we want to click on the default cube. Now there are a few very easy things to do just to start you off. So G on the keyboard, if we press G, we can grab it and move it around with the mouse. If you press G and then an axis, so G then X, it'll snap to the X-axis. G then Y, snaps to the Y-axis, you can move it around, and G then Z snaps to the Z-axis. Okay, I'm going to press escape now because I want to go back to where in the original position. If I wanted to keep it somewhere, then I would click, but I don't want that at the moment. So G is to grab, S is scale, so scaling bigger or smaller, so increasing by a scale factor or decreasing by a scale factor. So we can make the cube massive, or we can make the cube very small. S, move mouse. Again, you can snap it to the axes, so if you only want to scale across the x-axis, that's fine. If you want to scale across the y-axis, yeah, you can do that. And z-axis, all nice and easy. So you can scale only in one way as well, which is very, very helpful. So we've got grab S, scale, grab G and S, scale S. And we can also rotate. So R rotates, and if you press R, just rotate around the 3D cursor there. But of course, again, you can snap it, so rotate around the x-axis, rotate around the y-axis, and rotate around the z-axis. All nice and easy. So a few things we can do there. Now, we're not going to do anything fancy apart from those three things at the moment. And we're going to look at how to add in shapes as well. Now, if we look just up here, we can see there is an add button. We can choose lots and lots of different things to add in. The main thing we're going to be using, of course, is meshes. So you can see we've got lots of different things. So we can add in, say, a sphere. There we go, we've got a sphere to mess around with. We could add in a cylinder. There you go, so we've got lots of sort of basic primitive shapes. So what you want to get used to doing is pressing Shift A, because Shift A brings up the add menu wherever you are. It's a nice easy way of doing it rather than having to go up to the top and around again. Torus, there you go, another simple primitive one. There we go. So Shift A is add shape, and we're remembering that S scales, G grabs, and R rotates. Okay, so there we go. Back to the normal, resetting those. So we've got all those down. We're very, very happy with those. We've got a few shortcuts. We can add a shape and everything works out really nicely there. The next thing you'll need to think about is camera. Now, with Blender, you definitely need the sort of the third wheel, the middle wheel for your mouse, because it controls zooming in and out by scrolling. And if you hold it down, you can sort of pan around from a sort of central point. And if you hold Shift and pan around, you can move the camera without panning around. You move it across. You can mix all these things, of course, to make everything go in different directions. But the main thing you need to do is zoom in, zoom out by scrolling, press down and move around to move the camera around a pivot point, and hold Shift to move it straight across. Alrighty. So those are the main sort of basic bits and pieces you need to look around this current mode. Now we're in object mode at the moment, which is all I really wanted to look at for this particular point. So the last two things I'm going to show you is how to make some materials here, specifically colour, and a background. And then we're going to sort of save it as well. So if we look on our menu, we've got a little materials tab here, and we can change our base colour wherever we want. Now you might notice that I've just changed that base colour, but the cube I've clicked on hasn't turned red. Oh, how frustrating. The reason is because you've got these little viewports up here. So you can go into the wireframe, so you only see the edges that make up the shape. You go material, which is like a grayscale version of what you're working on. Then you can go into so you've got wireframe, you've got solid mode, you've got look dev mode, and you've got render preview. So if we go into look dev mode, it actually now turns red. If we go into render preview, it'll actually show you what it will look like in our final render, which is great. Generally you want to work in either your solid mode or your look dev mode, because both will show you don't want to be staying on rendering for ages, because once you start getting a little bit further into things and making things complicated and interesting, then your computer will not like you if you stay in rendered mode constantly. And it's much easier to work in these ones because you'll see more guidelines and things. So we've done that. If we click on this little globe looking part here, the world tab, you can also change the background. So at the moment we've got this sort of very sort of grey colour. If we change that to something else, let's say blue, so complement our red, and we also want to make sure that we turn up this brightness on the side. So there we go, a nice very bright blue, too bright almost, there we go. No, there we go, make it obvious. And again, it hasn't turned up. That's because the backgrounds only appear in the rendered preview, which is fine as well. Right, so last but not least, you can now render something out. So render image, and that's what the camera was looking at, so it's rendered out our red cube with a blue background. Okay, so that was a very, very simple start. So all we've talked about is how to add in shapes, how to change them with grabbing, scaling, that kind of thing, and rotating. We've talked about adding colour to shapes, and we talked about adding colour to the background. So all I'd like you to do is make sure you can recreate this in your own format. I'll quickly go through everything again. So we had colour in our materials, so you can just change the base colour here. We've got background, where we can change the colour here. And render was up here. You can press F12 as well. And when you do render it out, of course, you want to say image, save as, and save as something. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our very, very simple intro to Blender. Next time I'll talk about a few other bits and pieces, but for now you should just make sure you're familiar with the materials, shapes and primitives in general, and background. Okay, have a try.